First, I was too frugal. You have a scarcity about money, and you got to go, get every little thing. And that's still a good strategy, by the way. It's not a bad strategy.
No, it isn't. I've had that strategy. The same thing. All my friends call me cheapo because I was cheap about it.
The Ten Commandments of Wealth went live on Easter Sunday. Join thousands of other people that made a commitment to a brighter future, to more prosperity, to brighter ways and better days. If you want to see the rest of this interview with this champion and many others, do yourself a favor. Click that link. I'll see you inside the Ten Commandments of Wealth. It's right over there. Click that link. Bunny, what should you do? Click the link right there. Do it now.
Today I get to have a chat with Tito Ortiz. And Tito is, you were UFC champion 3.5 years or so.
Yes, sir.
UFC Hall of Fame. Generally swell guy. Bone crusher, philanthropist. Poet and philosopher. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you inviting me over. It's something I talk about with the audience. Most of my audience, to begin with, is this. Most of my audience, it's not really like normal people in the population. People that are annoyed with what's considered normal today, and they wanted to build a more exceptional life for themselves. And they come to me for financial advice. They want help with building a business or understanding how to make better decisions in their investments or whatnot. But I think in the background that a common theme, I'd say, people that already had an exceptional work ethic. They had above average ambition, above average motivation. They wanted to go do something. They didn't want to have a 50th percentile life or even 80th percentile life, And I think a fantastic thing that you could share from some of your story is, what does it really take? What are some of the things that you have to say no to be able to say yes to the things that you wanted most to be a champion at the level that you were, to live a life and like you've built. I think of you as a guy that you designed your life a lot more intentionally than a lot of people do, or you have a lot more freedom in life than a lot of people do to be who you are shamelessly. And what are some thoughts that you have on that? In that general topic?
I think a lot of it is willing to sacrifice the small things if you have the big goal at the end. And little small things that do come about, and it was just funny, I was just thinking about it on the ride over here, was if I was in a full camp, in a training camp, and I had an opportunity to do a film, a movie, and I was getting paid, $100,000, I'm making 20 times that for a fight. Why would I sacrifice my time, my energy for that 10,000 if I can hold out and wait and get paid the big money at the end and sacrifice all that time? And it's kind of funny because when I was the world champion, I had opportunities to go to the Playboy Mansion, opportunities to go on tour with Korn, got opportunities to go on tour with Limp Bizkit for 2-3 weeks for free, everything paid for, nothing came out of my pocket, just come and join them. But I sacrificed that, and I said, no, I can't do it. Because my goal was to be the world champion. My goal was to become a 5-time world champion. Actually, I want to become more than that, but I didn't hash out. But that's part of the gig. But to me, it was just sacrifice the small things to accomplish the big things. And there is those little times that people pull you aside. It's like, hey, let's go to the club tonight. And it's like, no, I got to train tomorrow. I can't. Hey, let's go have a couple cocktails tonight. No, I can't. I would sacrifice the 4 months, 3 months of not drinking, not going out, not having fun. And you talk about being an introvert, if you want to be home. That was me. I wanted to be home. I wanted to stay home. I wanted to train. I want to push my body to the max, come home, eat, sleep, wake up, do the same thing over again. And that was 6 days a week. Sundays were my cheat days. I never drank alcohol. I never did drugs. I just consumed myself completely into training. That was it. Sundays, I was able to eat Taco Bell. I was able to eat McDonald's. I was able to eat Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I was able to eat Mexican food, and that was all in one day. But that was my cheat day. You understand? That was my cheat day. But that was a reset in my mind to understand that I've sacrificed for 6 days. Now I have 1 day to enjoy myself. Now that Monday morning I woke up, it was time to work again. And I worked for another 6 days. And this was month after month after month after month after month that I did this. I've been competing now for 25 years. Haven't stopped training until 2020 since I've been a freshman in high school. And I've always trained. I've always taken care of my body. I've always ate right. I've always done the right things. But once again, it goes back to sacrifice. What you're willing to sacrifice to become the best you possibly can be. And it's not only just being an athlete, but it's being, in business, and being a father, and being a human being, or just being a man on this earth right now, doing the best things possible to show everybody else that it is possible. And those things that I've learned through my life, through trials and tribulations, that have really made me successful, very successful. And I'm thankful. A 11-year-old kid on Newport Pier ditching school to go catch a bonita to make $2 a fish. But I would have like 15 numbers of different Asians that lived in the area that would come buy the fish from me, and I would make, 40, $50 a day. And that was paying for my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My mother and father, they did as best they could put a roof over my head. But feeding-wise, I pretty much took care of myself. Clothing-wise, it was a help both ways. But my father kind of quit on our family. It was kind of hard for me. It was hard for my mother. And then when I became 13, my mother took me away from my father and moved me back to Huntington Beach. Then my freshman year came about at Huntington High School, and I found wrestling. Wrestling saved my life. I was very fortunate. My true name is Jacob. My son name is Jacob also. But in the Bible, Jacob wrestled against an angel. The angel beat him and saved his life. I've never been a really religious person, but I've heard that story before, so I had to go read it and kind of learn about it, and come to understand that that was all the evil stuff that's around a person, that they can't get away from it. But if you're able to wrestle with it and beat it and get away from it, then you're able to change your life, become a better person. And that's what something that made me become a better person. It showed me with hard work, dedication, work ethic, the things that I've learned through wrestling that a lot of people don't go through unless they've wrestled before, or unless they played any type of sport, any type of team sport or individual sport that shows what that extra hard work is. I look at one of the kids who's a neighbor to my sons right now, and he's out setting up his baseball stuff. He's hitting the balls into the net, and he's doing it all by himself. That shows dedication to something that you love to do. And I was doing those same things as a kid growing up when I got into high school wrestling. I'd run on my own, I would lift on my own, I would drill on my own. Wrestling practice would be over for high school, and I'd have one of my buddies, hey, can we drill? Just drill moves? I didn't want to wrestle hard, just drill moves. Because I had to learn the repetition of knowing that when it did come to competition, that it was an automatic. It wasn't something that was pushed or anything. It was something that was an automatic that made the drilling make sense, that I had to drill more and had to get better at it.
You link up the neural pathways in your head between
Yes.
intellectually knowing something and making it a habitual response in your physiology to react that way in a certain circumstance.
Exactly. And that was the same thing that I had. It transduced into fighting, that I had that same mentality. I mean, I went from high school wrestling into college wrestling. From college wrestling, I started training for MMA, and I started doing jiu-jitsu, I started doing kickboxing, I started doing boxing. I already had the weight training, I already had the cardio, I already had the wrestling, but I had to just make sure I had to keep those in together to add the other ones with them. And when I did that, I became the world champion a year and a half later. It was just history, I guess you could say.
And I thought our paths are different. I thought about business and trained for business, if you will, in a similar sense or similar obsessiveness that you thought about wrestling and later MMA. And some of the things that I put in my head, early on, it was just, first I was too frugal. First, you wanted to, you have a scarcity about money, and you got to go, get every little thing. And that's still a good strategy, by the way. It's not a bad strategy.
No, it isn't. I've had that strategy, the same thing. All my friends call me cheapo because I was cheap about things. Look, I'm cheap. I just realized that as I got older, money's not going to be there forever, and I got to make sure I got to save things.
Even when I was in school, the kids made fun of me because I was thinking about money different than they were. And I'm sure in their low-level or mid-level management jobs, I don't know what they do today. I don't talk to those people anymore. But literally in school, people would make fun of me in like junior high school or high school because I was just thinking about money differently. And I wanted to go cut grass or walk a dog or trim a tree or trim a bush, rake some leaves, whatever I could do to go earn some money. And I started doing that when I was 7. And I got a paper route when I was 10. When I was 11, I had 4 paper routes. I didn't do any of them, but I used to do the first one. And then I realized, wait a minute, if I got multiple paper routes, which they'd give me because I had high customer satisfaction, that I was always on point and made sure everything was good, then I could outsource these to other people, supervise them. So when I had 4, I got paid for 1, and I was passed on 75% of the earnings to the people who actually did the work.
Nice.
So I was thinking that way very early in life, and it was unrelatable to other people that age.
Right.
Later on, that worked out quite well for me. But you know, I liked money enough that I'm a high school dropout. I didn't finish high school. I had a good work ethic, but I wasn't very good at taking orders from other people. I always wanted instruction. I wanted good mentors, or I wanted somebody that you could trust that was a high quality person that cared about you to tell you what to do, which is a great luxury because I didn't have that growing up, you know. So I was never good at taking orders, but willing to work hard, you know. And my whole life, if I had to work 30 hours sometimes or 40 hours on a rare occasion, I just do that and just whatever was necessary to accomplish the goals, you know. But I wasn't very good at somebody else telling me what to do.
That was one of my big things, is people tell me what to do, because through my childhood, my parents let me do whatever I wanted. I took the 43 bus from Santa Ana, I'd go down to Newport, I'd fish all day, I'd get home maybe 9 o'clock at night, or I'd never come home at all. And that was all the way up through high school. Up to high school, then I had a stepfather who kind of changed the game a little bit, but I snuck out when I wanted to. But then when I became an adult, I come to realize that, am I going to continue this fighting thing? Am I going to school, or am I going to go into military? And I come to do some research on the military, and for them yelling at you and telling you what to do, I just couldn't handle that. I could never handle that. I had to do everything my way. I had to learn through my mistakes, and as I learned through life, I learned through my mistakes, where either it was a positive or a negative. And most of the time, I always just, the one that I fed was the one that was the best, and that was always the positive. And those are the things that I learned through life. It was just hard work and dedication. I had to be responsible for my actions. I had to be responsible for my mannerisms, things that I did in life to progress and be better. And as you're talking about, keeping money tight was something that I always go with my buddies, and I made really good money, and still we'd go out and they'd be buying bottles. They're like, "You gonna chip in?" I go, "Yeah, I'll chip in my piece." They're like, "Oh, well, you're not gonna pay for it?" And I'm like, well, "You're not gonna, we should all chip in together." Then I was called cheapo after that. So it's the situations that do happen that, you come to learn how life is and how it runs through, the obstacles that you're able to learn from. And to me, it was just hard work and dedication. I'm going to think about the future.
I can't believe you just cut me off. I just was going to answer that question. And believe me, the whole interview is amazing. So check it out. The 10 Commandments of Wealth by Derek Moneyberg. I'll see you.